Hey, what's up guys, it's Faux, and I'm here to give you guys the winning perspective of Deadman Factions version 1, I guess, today. Basically, Solo Mission invited 150 different RuneScape creators and some creators from some other games as well, and got us all together in a 4-team PvP challenge Deadman server with insane boosted rates. I'm talking 1000x drop rate, 1000x experience rate, something we've never experienced before. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to come down to a final fight in a restricted area, kind of battle royale style, but it's like 4 massive teams all against each other at once. So there's a lot of organization to this, and it's going to be quite a challenge. But I wanted to make this video to show you guys how much planning actually went into this, how much execution did, and how everyone on this team kind of pulled their own weight to pull together one really smooth experience for Team Saradomin. Now, Deadman Factions follows a similar strategy of Deadman Annihilation in that you have to gain skills and complete combat achievements or achievement diaries or boss kills or whatever else to gain Deadman points. You use those Deadman points to unlock sigils, and that's how you get them this time. So you can't get them from skilling, you can't get them from monster drops like you have been able to in the past. So our early strategy revolved around getting just a few very simple skills up that are easy and quick to train, so we could get enough Deadman points to be able to unlock the sigils that we needed early on. The first of which is going to be Litheness, which is going to passively train our agility to 99 in somewhere like 20 minutes, and that's going to get us like 1,000 extra points. So sometimes we use these sigils to gain more points, sometimes we use them just because we need to get our skills up for a certain thing. The next step was to prep for our money-making method. Now, this involved getting just 1 bone buried for 20 prayers so we could use the lamp from the Varrock Museum. There's a couple in there that we could claim automatically based on the quests that were auto-completed to get 43 prayer. That's for overheads. We also used the money that we gained from the Stronghold of Security to buy just enough casts for elemental weakness against gargoyles, and we saved the count check lamp to also influence the gargoyle grind. That was our kind of secret money-making method from the start. What we did was we did the Varrock Museum, which got us level 73 Slayer, and then we used the lamp from Count Check, which is basically just like a regular XP lamp that you would get off a random event, to get us from 73 to 75 Slayer. Now, this was to allow us to kill gargoyles, which have a guaranteed chance at a Granite Maul because the drop rates are increased by 1,000 times. So what that means is every single time we get a gargoyle kill, it's a guaranteed 30k GP. So we had our easy money-making method. We didn't have to go to a Jill pyramid or anything else like that and run an entire lap for 30k. We just had to kill 1 gargoyle, which again has an elemental weakness to earth, so the kills go pretty fast overall. So we ended up having the entire team go to gargoyles just to get enough money to buy death runes and a few teleport runes so we could do our first Barrows run. Now, the Barrows run is half for gear so we can have survivability and, you know, PK gear for the end and whatever else, but it's also to alch the junk tank items so we can afford to get into our next big strategy, which is the Rev Caves. We needed to have 100k GP each to get everyone in the team into the Rev Caves at the same time. And there was something unique about this specific version where they changed it to where the northern entrance to the Rev Caves is a massive multi-zone like Revs used to be, and they basically doubled the amount of Revs that are in there. So we figured early on that if we could lock down this area, we could get mega Rev grinding at 1000x drop rate. We're going to see, if you're not on task, you're going to, you know, as long as you're skilled, you're going to see a drop every like 12 kills or something like that. So that's really not bad when we have everyone in there grinding at once. There was also the added benefit of doing the Strange Old Man mini quest at Barrows, which obviously gives you a 20k XP lamp, and on this mode that means 20 million experience. Oh yeah, and did I mention, when you loot a Barrows chest, it's almost guaranteed that you get 6 items from it because of the 1000x drop rates. Unfortunately, I actually only got 5 in mine, so I got a bit scammed there, but 99 prayer was knocked out from the Barrows run, our starting gear was knocked out from that, and then hopefully for most people, enough money to get to the Rev Caves as well. Now, Revs was pretty tough when we first started because we didn't have a ton of people there. We obviously didn't have a lot of gear, and we didn't have a lot of strength overall. We ended up buying 200 death runes with the money that we got from both the Granite Mauls and the Barrows items, and then came out here and tried to kill whatever we could until some members on the team started spooning some drops. So once we got the first Rev weapons, I think we got like a Vigorous Chain Mace, maybe a crossbow pretty early on, we started dishing those out to some different players, and those guys ended up just absolutely destroying any of the Revs nearby. which printed like just rev weapon after rev weapon after rev weapon. So like we went from like this huge power band where we were really weak when we first got here. Everyone's just kind of like trying to get death, air spells because the revs are weak to air spells. And by the end of it, we just had everyone decked out in rev weapons with like multiples in their inventory. So we were really able to farm quickly, train our stats super quickly, and we had to work on getting out of here all in one piece. Now, I don't know the exact number, but if I had to guess, we probably pulled somewhere around 40 rev weapons from this grind. It could be more, could be less, but as you look through these clips and you just see like all the different, rev weapons in the chat box, you understand that it's kind of crazy how many we ended up coming up with. Unfortunately for me, when we were exiting the rev caves, some of our members ended up getting caught out in multis, so some of us ran back to try to save them, and unfortunately, we just ended up being the punching bags instead. So we actually got our guys out, but we took the fall for the team instead. So, F in the chat, but I got reset pretty early on because of this. Lost my rev weapons, but luckily the teammates had enough backup and they did get out. So I was able to get a Vigorous Chain Mace back and get on to my next grind. Now, this is where our strategy really started to come together. The team had something unique in this one in that the farmers, myself, Rody, Mr. Mammal, and MMORPG, we're all tasked with getting the entire team dragon crossbows. Now, this is not that hard to do because these are a 100% drop rate from rune dragons. They're an extra drop. The dragon limbs are a tertiary drop on the table, which means that you can roll the same table, like you can roll the normal table, and you can roll a visage, and you can roll dragon limbs all at the same time. So the visage, I think, ended up being something like 1 in 8 or something like that. The dragon limbs are a 1 in 1 drop, and then you also got another drop, which almost always ended up being a dragon plate skirt or dragon legs, which I actually ended up using for money, for runes, and everything else like that. But the entire strategy involved rushing these dragon crossbows because that was going to be our power play at the final. We'll talk about that more later. But the farmers ended up getting Vigorous Chain Maces, coming to the Rune Dragons with a sigil called Revoked Limitation, which ended up making the rev weapons work everywhere, not just in the wilderness. So that was what gave us the accuracy to be able to kill the Rune Dragons in not really that great gear, which is effectively the entire reason the entire group ended up going with the Revenants to start. Part of it was to get, crossbows and things like that to hopefully farm the breaches, and the other part was to get the farmers Vigorous Chain Maces, so we would be strong enough to farm the Rune Dragons for the limbs for the entire team. Now, while we did this, we had the other members of the team working on Barrows equipment to make sure that everyone was topped off with the best Aram's equipment, the best Carol's equipment. We had other people working on wood cutting and fletching so they could make all of the dragon crossbows. We had people fishing to make sure that we had all of the hard food that we needed. Pip hit us up hard with the dark crabs to make sure that we were set there. And we had another team out at the Rogue's Chest in the wilderness working on diamonds so we could all have enough diamond bolts and phoenix necklaces for the finale. Now, Breach 1 obviously didn't go our way. If you saw some of the other players' perspectives on that, I wasn't there for that one. But Breach 2, we ended up taking Anakarl and had the most strategic location in this entire thing, which is inside the walls of the Anakarl Greater Demons. And that was a big play because it causes, when someone rushes you, massive clump. So we lost a few people here because we were slightly clumped as well, but we ended up taking down most of Dino's team, the first team that tried to hit us in this location. And really, like, you just see how positioning and strategy works out massively in a mode like this. Unfortunately for us, though, we ended up overstaying our welcome just a little bit too long and got hit a second and a third time at the second breach and ended up going down for a lot of what we ended up gaining, though some of our homies got out with Zuriel staff and some other gear as well. So, it wasn't all bad, but it didn't work out for me, unfortunately. Now, here's the funny part about the whole thing. If you were watching the main broadcast on this, I think the announcers actually came across the Team Sarah as sitting here at Scurious after breach number 2 and basically just wrote us off saying like, oh, they're all in rag gear, like they've just given up. They're not gonna be, a major threat in this, and I think they're just gonna end up feeding all the other teams. The funny thing is, this was a massive part of our strategy, and the reason is the biggest bottleneck of our entire grind was the diamond bolts. Diamonds in this mode are extremely hard to get. The main way that we would get them would perhaps be the Laren's keys, but with Dagonhai being such a increased drop rate, you basically are just going to get that instead. So what we ended up doing was going Rogue's Chest for the diamonds and sending the entire team to Scurrius to get 99 range. This only took about 20 minutes to do from level, whatever to 99. And this also allowed us to get the newer players that, aren't really used to playing RuneScape a very easy way to get all the way to 99 and guarantee that they get there, rather than just kind of have them going out doing whatever, killing cows or whatever. We were able to all group up together, get 99 range together, and that means that we were all able to get the 99 range cape, which acts as an Ava's accumulator. Therefore, we only dished out about 25 diamond bolts to every person on the team, yet we still had enough for the finale to make things work for all of our rangers. So, hugely important. It was not a troll strategy. It was intentional, because if you even got one Scurrius spine, it's 5 million experience in range. So we got everyone to 99 range, everyone with range capes, and that makes our diamond bolts turn from 25 into way, way more. We also had the entire team, other than myself, unlock the elf storyline, which, I don't know, maybe cost 1,000 or 1,500 points to get the crystal shields, which were free once you auto-unlock that quest. However, since I had to spend 5,000 extra points on the Dragon Slayer to unlock that the rest of the team didn't have to do, I didn't have the extra points for it, so I actually just ended up making a DFS myself and charged that up and had something a little bit tankier, so still worked out. To add to our plethora of gear, we also had players on our team working on Brimstone boots, which we had almost the entire team decked out in these things to bump up the tank gear just a little bit. And then the final piece of the puzzle, we all unlocked the Sigil of Finality. Now this one was where everything kind of like meshed together. The dragon crossbows, the tank gear, having rangers, having majors, everything works together in synergy here. Let me explain it to you. Most of the people in this finale were guaranteed to use Sigil of Pious Protection, which gives you 35% decreased damage from a attack style that you're praying correctly against. So if you're praying mage, which everyone here is, you take 35% less damage. The downside is if you get hit off prey, you take 5% more damage. So what we decided to do was get barrage clumps on, the other clans, and then the entire team would put on a dragon crossbow with diamond bolts, use the Sigil of Finality, which gave you a guaranteed chance to hit, like 100% accurate hit, and use the special attack on the dragon crossbow. Now, if you don't know what that does, that hits up to 9 enemies in a 3x3 area, much like a barrage does, but it's guaranteed to be accurate because we're using the Sigil of Finality. So anytime we were able to freeze a clump of any opposing team, our callers would call out to Finality, put your crossbow on, and spec, and you would just see this entire thing drop instantly. You can't heal out of it. You can't brew out of it. You can't even combo heal out of this. You just see 35s, 40s just from everyone all at once. It was nasty. On top of all of that, we did something that not all of the other teams did, which was make sure that we had almost everyone with Blood Barrage, because anytime you get any one of these piles, that's obviously how you're going to be saving all of your supplies. So we had Blood Barrages to, we would initially get freezes on the opponent, we would get Blood Barrages up, and then we'd just smack with Finality all at the same time. And it was just this like beautiful symphony of group PVM just coming together in the most perfect way. It was lovely. I definitely said PVM. I'm too much of an Iron Man. PvP! And of course, none of this at all would have ever worked if we didn't have just such a really cohesive group of both planners and executors on this entire thing. Pip, Maz, and several others did an insane amount of work planning this thing. These guys, you don't understand, these guys made videos so the newer players on our team, like Antifuchsia and some others, would have a step-by-step guide of everything that we were doing for like the first 30 minutes. So they worked through everything and like kind of made sure that everyone was taken care of, not just the good players, but just like everyone overall. And then we had extremely good calling in multi from Mika, from Eliop, from Maz. It was just really, it was a team effort. Like, I know you hear that kind of thing a lot, but this was genuinely a team effort that like just would not have worked if everyone didn't do their part. You know what I mean? So that is how, my friends, the underdogs of the tournament won. Team Sarah on my chest. Enjoy. Have a nice day. Thanks for playing.